What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. There's some pretty big news in the NBA right now with Bradley Beal. It seems like the reign of terror is over in Phoenix and they're going to buy him out. Obviously, he's going to get it back from doing that. And he's going to sign with the Clippers when he's been bought out and clears waivers. And honestly, I think it's really good for the Clippers because you're getting Bradley Beal for 2 years, $11 million. 1 year with a player option after. But still, Bradley Beal on $5.5 million a year, even though he may not play 81, 82 games, still really good value. Still really good value. And I think the Clippers roster stacks up just as well against everybody in the West as anybody else can. They're now firmly to where I thought it was OKC, Denver, and Houston. I think the Clippers are now in that mix. I think obviously the way you have to view it is the Thunder are here and the rest of these teams are like right here trying to top them. So those four teams look like the best in the West going into next season, of course. Now, everybody knows things have never gone perfect in Clipperland, so they're going to need some good luck for once. And they've got a few guys like Beal and Kawhi who have struggled with injuries the past few years. If they're healthy, I think Ty Lue can coach this team and get those guys to mesh and get it to be really successful. Overall, I think the Clippers were really good last year, and I think they got a lot better in the offseason. I think they had an awesome offseason for what they spent because they brought in, obviously, just got in Bradley Beal. They signed Brook Lopez. They traded for John Collins. Those are three highly capable players at different positions. They don't play the same position. So you got a bunch of that. The starting lineup, it lacks a little bit of defense, in my opinion, but you have Harden, Beal, Kawhi, John Collins, Ivica Zubac. So you have that, right? And then your bench, you've got Chris Dunn, who's a defensive ace. You have Bogdan Bogdanovic, who can pour it up. You have Nicholas Batum, who can get after it. Derek Jones Jr. is an elite defender, good enough three-point shooter. And then Brook Lopez as your backup five. There are a lot of teams that would kill to have Brook Lopez as a starting five. That's 10 really, really good players that are going to make this team very formidable, even if one of them misses time or two of them miss time, because they've got enough guys to keep it afloat. Ultimately, I think this was a home run offseason for the Clippers because you're basically going all in at the end of Kawhi's prime here and the end of Harden's prime. So it's basically now or never. And a low-risk move in Bradley Beal at his contract for $5.5 million or whatever it is per year. You can take that chance. This is the team to take it. You should be taking a chance with because you need to get over the hump, and you're not going to do that by staying complacent. I thought they were already going to be pretty good and improved this season with the additions of John Collins and Ivica Zubac playing next to Collins, but the addition of Brook Lopez in the back as a backup five because they really didn't have one last year. And I think that 10-man rotation is as formidable as ever. I don't know how this is going to all work with Harden, Beal, and Kawhi, but a large part of me thinks with the way Harden facilitates, it's going to be a lot easier for Beal to fit in with Harden and Kawhi than it did for Booker and Durant. None of those guys are natural passers. That's the first thing that they are programmed to do. Harden, that's kind of the stage he's become, where he's more of a pass-first player now than score-first. So I think the chances of this working out with Beal are much higher than they were in Phoenix. And they got a lot better depth pieces around the edges to make it work. Phoenix did not have that. They had 5 guys that could play competent NBA minutes and then nothing after that. This team has 10. So I'm really confident in the Clippers next season. Health permitting, of course. That's always the biggest caveat with teams like this that are aging. But bringing in Bradley Beal, bringing in John Collins, bringing in Brook Lopez, there's still potential to bring back Ben Simmons as a spot guy. They have a lot of different room for Ty Lue to experiment and find the right lineups. You may find out another thing this helps is the backup guard play to where Harden rest, you can have Beal run point. He can do that. He's not elite at it, but he can do it in long stretches. So you could kind of facilitate that way, the way you do your rest. These guys can alternate. You can stagger their minutes. I think Beal can play with Kawhi. I think he fits in very well with Ivica Zubac. And Collins should fit in well, although I do think in some ways the idea of John Collins is better than what John Collins actually is, but he's still a good player. I think people think he's better than he actually is, but he's still good, if that makes sense. I feel like people kind of overrate him just a little bit for what he does, but overall, it's still a solid, good player on your team. But yeah, they got a lot of defensive versatility off the bench with Derek Jones Jr., Chris Dunn. That's going to help. Brook Lopez is still a capable shot blocker and rim protector. Obviously, Zubac was like top 2 or 3 in Defensive Player of the Year voting. I think the major caveat with this team, other than injuries, is just they are an older team. They did get a year older from last season, but I think they also got just better at the core spots they needed to get better. They needed more punch. They needed a little bit more depth and a little bit more flexibility to mix and match. And you can do that when you bring in Brook Lopez, who can space the floor as a 5. Zubac doesn't do that. So that kind of complements. They both protect the rim really well. Derek Jones Jr. and like Kawhi and Chris Dunn, those guys, like even John Collins, they can all lock up for good portions of games. And they're going to be able to mess around with that. That's going to be fun. They're going to be a team that, like, let's match them up against OKC. To where, like, you have SGA, who's probably going to get matched up a lot with, like, Chris Dunn for large portions of games, right? But, like, SGA and Harden, SGA's the better player, but Harden can still fill it up. There's going to be guys like J-Dub versus Kawhi. I think people kind of lean Kawhi still, although I think J-Dub is rising and ascending and getting better every year. Zubac and Holmgren and Hartenstein and Collins. There's a lot of like really good players that are all kind of clashing at the same spots. So that series is more fun. I think if we were to do a repeat of last year's series between the Nuggets and the Clippers, that would probably be the best series in basketball at this point, because that series went to 7 and both teams just added major depth pieces and added major core players to their rotations. And obviously the Nuggets pulled it out last year, but I thought they got way better. And I think the Clippers, who fell short last year, also got way better. So they should be able to keep pace with teams like OKC, like Denver. And then Houston obviously still has to prove a little bit with mixing in Durant and things like that, but they should be awesome. So they should be able to match up with all the top teams in the West from guard to center. They should be able to find ways to make that work throughout. That should be a lock. And the top 4 in the West, to me, at this point, I am a Laker fan. I don't think I don't think we make top 4 at this point. I think it's OKC, Denver, and then Houston and the Clippers. Like those are the 4 teams that are really going to be fighting for home court advantage in the playoffs, I think. Obviously, a lot can change. There are a lot of teams that could change up, like the Spurs are going to be coming this year. The Timberwolves have been in the conference finals 2 years in a row. The Lakers have Luka and LeBron and so many different things going on and moving pieces. The West is a shit show, and typically the team that is healthiest and is usually the best team makes it out. And last year we saw that with OKC. So can the Clippers stay healthy? Can they play that way? Can they get through a long 82-game season with most of the pieces still intact? And can they get over the hump? That remains to be seen. But I think the chances of it being seen this year are way higher than they have been since 2020. So that's what I think. What do you think of the Clippers signing? Do you think Bradley Beal is a good pickup? Do you think it's a terrible idea after what happened in Phoenix? I think there is going to be some people thinking it's good and some people thinking it's horrible. And there's room in between. I think it's probably going to lean more good because I think Harden is a better facilitator than anything Phoenix had. And that's going to kind of set the pecking order the way it needs to be. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like this kind of content. Please like the video. I appreciate you for watching. Pay attention to the Clippers. The Western Conference is going to be a dogfight, and the Clippers are going to be one of the big dogs in that fight. So I'm very, very excited to watch them play next year. But I'm done. Peace.